Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's March 24th, 2020. I'm over in the work area, and today I thought what I'd do is give you a bit of a tour around inside of the work area. We've been doing some modifications in here, some work in here, and it's nowhere near its finished state, which will be a couple of years from now. But as we make modifications, we see how well our adjustments to the systems work. And as we make other modifications, like once the greenhouse is up, this seed starting area will modify even more. The other big thing that's changed inside of the seed starting area here is we're not going to be growing as many plants as we used to do. I initially started off growing thousands and thousands of plants and tried selling them on Craigslist, and that really bombed. I hardly got anybody even calling in response to that. So I gave a lot away, and we trashed quite a few of them. The chickens and ducks ate them. So over the last couple of years, I've really cut back a lot. And this year, because I had the weeds get out of control in the not heavily weed matted gardens, and there are plenty of videos of garden tours, drone shots and all that, so you can see the differences in the types of gardens that we put out here. But for right now, I'll leave it at that. And since things get out of control for me, because the ideal time to get a weed is when the weed seedling just gets up, maybe just a couple of inches tall, 1.5 to 3 inches tall. The roots are easy to dislodge with a cultivating tool, and therefore you prevent the weeds from getting out of hand like it happened last year, because I've got a lot of construction to do this year. The next few years I really have a lot of construction, and I haven't been successful with selling plants, so I'm cutting way back on the starting. So you're going to see very few plants started inside of the work area. The other thing I thought I'd mention is one of the things I think is always good, if it's a possibility for you to control things, we're always trying to monitor and record how the environmental controls that we have inside of our seed starting area, so we know how successful things are. So we use Z-Wave, which is like Wi-Fi, but a little bit, it's better penetration. In other words, going through walls and all that. So in all of our buildings we have automation, so the lighting is controlled automatically, and that happens through our Z-Wave controllers. And also we can keep track of each area of all buildings, and even outside, what the temperature and humidity is. And I really think that when we're growing, getting used to growing various seedlings and all, and even growing plants when you're growing them indoors, is to have a good record of what the temperature and humidity is. So this is a Z-Wave temperature and humidity. This one goes, I'm right now in the North Hall. In the South Hall, where most of the plants are, there's another temperature and humidity probe. So in the coop right now, we'll take a walk in the coop. Right now it's 54 degrees Fahrenheit and almost 84% humidity. And in the north hallway, now I just had this in my hand, so I raised the temperature. It's about 57 degrees and 72% humidity. And in the south side, where the plants, most of the seedlings are, the temperature is 57.16 degrees Fahrenheit and 63% humidity. So, and I do have a dehumidifier over there as well, so that I can turn it on at different times. And the humidity level is higher than it has been because I've been melting down some beeswax, and when you're melting down the beeswax, you're doing it in boiling water, and as a result, the humidity in the room increases. So by keeping a log of the temperatures and humidity, the soil moisture as well, the amount of lighting that's there, you can keep records and see, geez, what really worked well year after year, what didn't work out, and what problems you have. And with the records, it helps out a lot. So I just wanted to share that with you. And I won't remember. The thing about having this automatic for me is I'll forget to write things down. I'll be too lazy to come over and record it after I forgot to do it and all, because this is a separate building from the house and all. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put my helmet cam on, my GoPro camera, I'm going to try and make it so that you're able to see down with the GoPro camera when I'm looking at the seedlings. Sometimes I forget to adjust things like that, so that hopefully you'll be able to see the plants at the state that they're at. Now the temperature is higher today, and a couple of days ago we had the temperature all the way up into the low 60s, 61, 62, but it was pouring and the humidity really got high in here. But I had the doors open, so that really raised the temperature from being around 49 and 50 degrees to the current temperature. And many of the plants, like the peppers and the tomatoes, don't really germinate very well at these cool temperatures. So yesterday I put some of those on a weed mat to see could I get them to germinate any better. And again, I do all this record keeping and trying different seed starting techniques. Each year I do some modifications to see how far I can push it. In other words, how cool a temperature will these seedlings germinate at? And do they get too leggy, or can they overcome that legginess initially? And that's often because of light. And I've talked about that in other videos actually. So I'm going to throw on the helmet cam. We'll take a walk around in here and see what things actually look like at this point. And we'll take it from there. Okay, so here's where I was just sitting. We're in the North Hall, and here's the camera where I was sitting in front of. That's one of my screens to be able to control the various, the lighting systems, temperature, humidity, those sorts of things. This bench right here, hopefully you can see these things. So this bench here is one of the benches that we're getting all of our trays. So we got lots of trays down here. That's the small shop vac that goes to the vacuum seeder. So here are some of the seed. These are 72 cell seed flats. And they work really, really well for the majority of things. And the vacuum seeder deposits one or a couple, depending on which one, seeds in each cell, which really goes really quickly if we need to do high volumes of seed starting. So that works out really well. But this is our stainless steel little workbench. Here's our seed popper when we want to get all those cells, the seedling out of the cells after they developed adequate root systems. Probably seen me with videos before using this. This is for doing all our microgreens, getting all the cells nice and flat. Some of our timers here as well. One of the refrigerators, so when we bring up seeds from long-term storage up here into the work area to start seed starting, that's one of the places that I'll go ahead and bring some seeds up here to get started. And food in the freezer and food in this freezer. Another part of the work area here, that's one of the storage right now, but it's one of our hoods that we can make our soaps in, so we positively evacuate any fumes from being in the building, and so that we're safe as well. It's one of those hospital hood systems. We also use it for soap making and for starting mushrooms as well. Here's one of our rows of seed starting down here. We aren't starting any. These are all LED Fiat lights. I've gone over those in the past. You can see some of the very end parts of what I'm doing here with the hives, getting the hive boxes ready. This one's just drying out enough so that it can go back out to the honey hut. Here's one of the seed flats. Once I get the soilless mixture in the seed flat, which really works out very, very well. You stack them on top of each other. It indents the top of the surface, so the seed sets right there. Many of the tiny seeds like thyme or even onion seeds. So thyme needs full light, so in order to germinate, so they're positive photoblastic. And onions are negative photoblastic, so we have to cover these up when we do it. Here's some of our sweet potatoes. I made a series that was started off a couple years ago with my starting sweet potato slips in perlite. Got lots and lots of hits. So last year I did a whole series on growing sweet potatoes. This is another extension of that, but I'm trying it this year. Instead of starting them, getting them to send up their little stems coming up, which will end up being sweet potato slips, and then we root those. But this is the way we're doing it this year. I put some little heat mats underneath these, and we'll see if they end up producing slips. Don't know if that'll happen yet. Right here, so this is the area. There's a multi-function area, so one of the things I've been doing lately is boiling down the wax. So there's the end of the wax from the honeycomb from the bees. It's boiled in water, and then I can separate all the debris. If there's bee parts still in there, if there's dirt and debris, any of those things, it separates from the wax, and then I clean it out, and then we can use that for our various products as well. And over here, so it's a mess. Apologize for the mess because I've been doing multiple things. So we have some storage over here. I showed that I was building these shelving units similar to the ones that are in the root cellar, just that these are wood. And I rewired this so I could get all of our Excalibur dehydrators. So here's our Excalibur dehydrators. We do lots of dehydrating. Lots and lots of dehydrating. Really, it's a fantastic way of storing lots and lots of food that's lightweight, easy to store. It's amazing how much food we can store. So we've got 8 different dehydrators here. We could be dehydrating tons more food, and hopefully not this coming season. I'll show how I build the big dehydrator that's part of the heating system that'll end up going over here that attaches to the greenhouse. But down in here are all of these tubs, and inside of these tubs, I'll start this part over. So these are our various Rubbermaid bins. Here we have soilless mixture here, and I go ahead and, not sure how well this is showing. I add moisture to this so that it's a little bit damp. It's not damp enough to make a ball yet, and that's just about the right consistency to pack either in our flat trays, which are like this. So these are where we grow our microgreens in. And so I put the soilless mixture in here, use that pressing device, that board that I made earlier, and I spread out all the seeds here, and we grow our own microgreens. That happens in our house. So that's one of those trays. And the soilless mixture goes into the 72 cell flats as well. So we have multiple bins, double bins. I fill these up a couple times a year because we grow lots and lots of food here. And here is a perlite. So I do owe you a video on the perlite. I do dampen this down a little bit because, and this does not hold water, and I'll go over that in a video, but it helps to decrease the fine powdery material in that area. Let's see. Well, around here someplace I've got here we are. Here's vermiculite. Both of these come from volcanic material and all, but this type vermiculite, which also has a high powder, really tiny particle matter in here, but this actually can help to retain water. So you'd never use this with a cactus type plant or something that you don't want the feet wet in the plant. You'd use the perlite. But both of them could be used in a seed starting mixture. But this one holds water and this one really doesn't. This one really good for draining soil. So let's see. Here's the greenhouse out here. And you've seen videos on this. We've got lots of work to do. The ducks are out there having a ball over there outside. Lots of work to do out here yet, but I'm not quite ready. And you can see the snow's really melting out here. It's up to 39 degrees today, so that's pretty nice. Our little carts when I'm doing work and all, we're doing repair. This is our, this unit right here is our washing station. So underneath this cover is a big bin. This is our bubbler here. So I hook up a shop vac to the bubbler, and that automatically washes a lot of our root vegetables, washes our kales, all the greens. Really nice, quick way. Nice and drain system too on this. So this will get moved outside as the season goes on. And I won't go over this stuff right now. So here's our our seed starting racks right here, right now. And I thought I'd just go down and share some of the things that we got. Now, so a lot of these guys, so these are our peppers and eggplants, I believe, in these ones here, which haven't germinated. I just put them on a couple of heat mats down here. So there's heat mats down here to help them. I keep them covered up so that the cells all stay about the same humidity level, the moisture content. Here we've got some red Acer cabbage. Over here I have some Black Beauty eggplant seeds over here. Now again, they're a warmer weather one, so I may need to put those down on a heat mat as well. Here we've got some broccoli seedlings right here. Hopefully this camera's showing up. And here we have some, these are King Richard leeks. Boy, we're real leek fans and all. So these are King Richard leeks, really, really nice. Here we have some thyme. These are positive photoblastic plants, so they really need to get the sun or artificial light in order for them to start to germinate. 2 trays of the thyme. And we have, each year we grow more thyme, but we have thyme all over in the food forest. Down here we have some spinach started. That's some red Acer cabbage there. Here, 2 more shells with the King Richard leeks. Here are some of our red onions. They're just starting to germinate now. And the thing about leeks and onions is when they first germinate, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but they come up folded over and then they straighten up. And so we'll keep these one in the dark because they're negative photoblastic. They really like to germinate in the dark. Here we have some romaine lettuce. We'll be getting some of that stuff outside before too long. And of course, the seeds are so tiny on this one and they all stick together. So unfortunately, there's multiple romaine lettuce in each one. We'll just pinch those off. Here we have some, is that white cauliflower? Yeah, that's cauliflower here. Down here we pick up some of the red onion little bulbules and start those. So there's these 2 trays here and these 2 here as well. Down below, I have to cover that one up. That's basil there. Here is the tray that I did my initial seed starting and got almost 100%. But I ended up taking a lot of those out, tearing them out. I stuck them in the soil out there where it's nice and cold in the coop area. I'll show you that in a moment. Here's some dill. And every day I'm checking places to see around the outer margins. It can get drier than it does in the center because of the shape of the systems. And what do we have? So here are some of the eggplants in here. And these plants really could, your peppers, your eggplants, your tomatoes, they really do like the warmth in order to germinate. So we've really cut back quite a bit. I'll be starting some more, but not nearly as much as we've done in years gone by. Washing station right over here. I've cut back. Those are our vermiculture bins for raising the red wigglers and getting the worm castings from. I don't know that I'll continue doing that. It just takes me so much time. Our washing station here, dehumidifier here, and trays here as well. And more trays, different trays, whether it's the outer trays and all. Let's go out to the coop. Since the ducks are outside right now, we're in pretty good shape. So we got some of the citrus, the lemons, the limes, all of those. Lots of fig trees around in here. These are all fig trees over in this area. These are the ones that I put on Craigslist. These are some of the first year. I planted these ones a year ago, and they did really, really well, developed great roots and all. I've got to up pot some of them. These ones I got to prune back pretty heavily as well. During the winter months, we separate, so you can see the wall came right down here, and that way the ducks could have free access over here. Here are some gooseberry cuttings here. These are fresh fig cuttings along the margin here. Again, Myers lemon there. Here I started some bald cypress seeds from one of our bald cypress trees outside. And then we've got the asparagus. So I took some of the asparagus seeds, started them here as well. And is there something else I can't remember right now? Elderberry. And so here we are. So these different squashes here. So this has been in the 40s. So that Blue Hubbard actually does okay out here at these lower temperatures. Pretty amazing how good those Blue Hubbards do. And all I did was basically rip them right out. And in 2 weeks time from those 72 cell flats, they really had a really nice looking root system. These are the butternut here. They don't do well at all out here in the cooler air, but the Sweet Georgia squash did so-so, but the Blue Hubbards did great out here in the cool air. Pretty interesting. I like experimenting when I've got extra time. So that's it right over in here. Okay, so that's a walk around inside of the work area and out into the coop. We're really pleased that the weather warmed up quite a bit and the pond 5 froze so the ducks could get outside. And you know, we've made a little bit more progress getting ideas from each year. We learn about what works, and one of the things I'd always recommend, if there's a way that you can slowly finish buildings when you're building them, especially when you're having multiple functions for whatever the building is, you really discover, you know, like I discovered, oh my goodness, I want to have one whole set of outlets for the dehydrators and have that on one circuit, and even though there's other outlets along that same section, they'll control other things, whether it's outside cameras or whatever it may be. You know, as I go through this process, I'm just sharing the things that I learn along the way. So we'll see if this film shows up with the GoPro camera on the head mount. Hopefully it does show up. If things don't really look really great at that, I've got a smaller camera that I can show probably a little bit closer, so there may be little breaks in video depending on how things look and all. So that's it as far as a seedling update at this point, March 24th, 2020. You can look at last year, some of our seedling updates, and the year before that, different situations, different times and all, if you want to do comparisons. So this is our process, this is our setting, and it's nothing too elaborate, but we're pretty happy that each year we've made a little bit of progress in the area. A lot of hours spent in here doing the various functions and all. So if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. Any suggestions, please leave them below. I certainly appreciate the feedback. If you found this video of value, give us a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And certainly, folks, have a super fantastic day. Stay safe. Remember, social distancing. Take good care of yourselves, folks. Bye-bye now.